What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Keith Mills, and I'm here with my brethren.
Studio Breeze, what's good, y'all?
And today we are talking about games that need to fuse. So, the aspect of bully taking place in high school is like the main reason why it needs to cross over with a Spider-Man game, because I kind of want that story to actually, like, both sides of Peter Parker and Spider-Man intertwining like Spider-Man 2018 did with his job as a scientist and working at Feast, and as, you know, Peter Parker and things like that. I want the story of Peter Parker and him and his relationships at school, and I kind of wanted to have a little multiple choice thing where, depending on what you do, like, say for instance, you can choose to stop this crime, or, you know, finish the school project, whatever. And it may not be a, you know, Peter Parker thing. We already know what he's going to do, but you have the opportunity to choose, and what you choose dictates how the story progresses. So, for instance, say if you chose to do the Spider-Man mission, your relationships might get strained with the people close to you, or your grades, and you may end up getting a little, like, different ending. You might get an ending where you don't graduate because you focus too heavily on Spider-Man. Or on the flip side, if you choose the Peter Parker route, the bosses and the crimes in the city that you do are harder now because you aren't stopping things like robberies and gun raids and things like that. And then have those those side missions. Bully has some of the best side missions because it fits the universe, and it's just fun to do. So you can kind of intertwine that with Spider-Man in a sense, you know, with the delivering pizzas, taking pictures, things like that, little side jobs you can do to make money in high school and, you know, provide for, you know, like anime, something like that. I don't know. I just want a game where you can have a little more Peter Parker life into it, and having a game set in high school, and having high school play a pivotal part would be amazing.
With DMC, you have a lot of things that Elden Ring is lacking. Some crazy, interesting combos that you can do, juggling enemies in the air, going insane with the high octane action. Some great cutscenes that actually tell a story. No shade to Elden Ring, but we genuinely don't get too much out of the cutscenes and out of the things that you actually have to seek for to understand the story. So something like a story like DMC, where you're creating your own devil hunter, and there's actually online options to play with other hunters. And I'm not talking about the Elden Ring where you gotta, like, invite people, like just normal seamless co-op Elden Ring, where you can invite people along the journey. It's open world, there's intricate level design, there's amazing boss design that's actually challenging, whether you're solo, co-op, or not. Summoning things, so you can actually summon different spirits and different creatures to actually help you in battle for the ones who need a little bit more help and a little bit more support, but also have a crazy amount of challenge, a crazy amount of combat depth. I truly think that DMC and Elden Ring merging would just be insane, and I think it needs to happen ASAP. Somebody, a dev team needs to make a game like that.
Everybody and their grandmama know what Red Dead Redemption is, but only the OGs know what Kane Lynch is. And now, while it wasn't the best game, the co-op aspect made it better. And you cannot sit here and tell me that having Red Dead Redemption co-op story would not be phenomenal. Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best games I've ever played, hands down, specifically for the narrative. And being able to experience something like that story with a partner would be insane. And Kane and Lynch, they are criminals in, you know, in their time period, but they don't really trust each other in the same way that the crew in Red Dead does, you know, to, you know, a certain extent or whatever. And Kane and Lynch, they had that like multiplayer mode where you can rob banks together, but you can also betray your teammates. You can have something like that where, like, maybe in somewhere in the story you have a choice where you either betray the, you know, person next to you, you know, your co-op partner, or you know, you keep your loyalty and, you know, you ride together at dawn. I don't know. I just feel like that type of game would be phenomenal, because Red Dead Online was not treated well, but having a co-op story like with that depth that Red Dead had would just be fantastic.
For those of you who've played both game series, you would know how crazy the combat is for both of them. Now, you take the story of two siblings. Let's say they're two twins. They both have a destiny to become the new god, and whatever new god that they pledge their loyalty to, or whatever the destiny of theirs is tied to, actually puts them through a whole bunch of different trials and tribulations, going through different locations, through different Greek areas and stuff like that. Because I'm a sucker for Greek mythology, so stuff like that, sort of like almost like a Percy Jackson-esque, traversal and adventure through the Greek history, but also having that gore that God of War and Mortal Kombat are both known for, but having different like fatalities, different special moves, different ways to kill in the environment like it is in Shaolin Monks. All of these intertwined together and making it a two-player co-op experience. As well as at the end, I actually had an idea for the twins to have sort of like a battle, a skirmish, to actually see who's going to actually be the new god in charge, the new one that actually fulfills the prophecy. So the whole game, you're cooperating together, but at the same time, you're getting stronger, so that at the end, you actually can, one up your twin. Knowing each other's kits and having each other's fighting styles be intertwined, and at the end making that something that you have to use against each other. Come on, peak cinema. I'm cooking right now. So guys, these are our picks for the games that should fuse. Let us know if you guys have any ideas that we should incorporate into the next video, the next episode in the series, because we're gonna make a lot more of these. We got a whole bunch of ideas for you guys.
Like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate the support. Let us know if you had the opportunity to fuse any two games together, or three. What games would you fuse? I'm Keese.
And I'm Breeze.
And the struggle arc continues.
Big Breezy.